Hey everyone, welcome to the Bruce Williams channel. Let's do a wrist check. I'm wearing the Seamaster today. This is the chrome dial navy ceramic bezel on the OEM bracelet. And this has just become my favorite watch in the collection. And most days I find myself reaching for this in the watch box and I just love it. It's not the perfect watch, but it's just about the perfect piece for me. But we're not talking about the Seamaster today. Today we're talking about value retention and technically investing in this hobby that we share in watches. So Gary has a really good question here, an email. He says, Bruce, I am a collector of a few things, watches, old coins, and now I might start collecting precious metals in small amounts. What would be a better long-term investment, buying gold, silver, or some watch brands that are sought after like Seiko? Yes, Seiko has gone up a lot in the last year. Omega, Rolex, etc. If you don't like venturing out of the watch realms on this question, then feel free to ignore the email. By no means will I treat this as investment advice, but always interested in some thoughts from a fellow watch collector slash hobbyist. Keep it up, mate. Cheers, Gary. Well, Gary, awesome to hear from a fellow watch collector and hobbyist. By no means am I an expert in investing at all. So you got the right approach with taking whatever I say with a grain of salt. But let's talk about value retention and investing in watches. And let's start with the first brand you mentioned, Seiko. I remember 4 years ago, you could buy an Orange Monster 2nd Gen brand new for about $200. I think I paid like $217 brand new. And that was actually the best value for money Seiko you could buy. 4-hour movement, stainless steel bezel, pretty good bracelet considering. I mean, that one was a good buy at around 200. Now it jumped up massively as they updated the Monster as it was discontinued. And I think now they're going for right around $600. So it's jumped up by about $400 in 4 years. So initially you think, wow, that one really appreciated, but it's only gone up about $100 a year for 4 years, and I don't see that continuing into the future. So for a 4-year investment, 400 bucks, it's not really that good. You would have to be collecting in large quantities to really make it worth it. Like you've got to sell 10 Orange Monsters that you spent 200 bucks on and make $4,000 instead of $400. That I could see doing, but I don't think it's worth it. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. I've bought some Seikos thinking, wow, this is gonna sell out. I'm gonna have my money pretty much safe with this cool Zimby edition, and then nobody likes it. And I end up taking a loss when I flip it and I buy into something else to review. So generally, I have had very poor experience with Seiko and with value retention, so I would not suggest investing in Seiko or buying Seiko with the idea that years on down the road you're going to make some money. Maybe if you hit on a super popular model that they didn't make a whole lot of, and then 20 years later you've got this pristine new old stock example, you might make some money, but even then the money won't be that great. I don't see you making more than $1,000 depending on whatever watch it ends up being. Now let's talk about Omega and Rolex. Other brands hold value a lot better than the more affordable ones, and that's just the reality. Some Omega limited editions do very well. I know a lot of people hate on Omega limited editions, especially Speedmasters and the quantities that they make, but some of them hold value very well. Some of them appreciate a lot, like the Apollo 13 Snoopy edition. That thing, man, I remember thinking that it was overpriced at retail price, and now I wish I would have bought a couple at retail price because of how much they've appreciated and how desirable they are now in the market. So you can hit on the odd, really good technical investment watch, but it's not the rule. As a rule, watches are terrible investments unless you're buying really hot ones at retail price or below, and then waiting the appropriate amount of time, and that watch ends up being hyped and in high demand. Then you can make some decent money, but I don't think it's worth it, and I wouldn't suggest anybody go in and buy these watches with the intent to flip. Let's take the Paddock 5711. super hot watch. What's the retail? It's like 30-ish, maybe even a little under 30. And you could walk out the AD and double your money or close to double your money on that. So that's a really good one. But here's the thing, here's the catch 22. You have to be a preferred customer to even get close to one of those at retail. My AD, I think they get maybe one or two a year here. And we have a decent market. It's not a huge market, Salt Lake, but they get a couple. Let's say you are a preferred client and you've bought some really great stuff and you get access to the desirable Rolex stainless steel sport models and Paddock stainless steel sport models. And then you go around and flip it, and that authorized dealer finds out you're on the bad list. You're not getting any more watches. So you cut off your access to these great, technically investment pieces right off the bat when you sell your first one, and people figure that out. So I would say watches and investing don't go hand in hand, but there is the odd opportunity to do fairly well. You just got to do it in higher quantities to really make it worth it. And I don't think many would want to take that route. So Gary, go ahead and invest in gold and silver, precious metal. Enjoy it. Enjoy your watches. It's great to meet a fellow hobbyist watch collector. Thanks for the thoughtful email. I enjoyed it. Guys, if you have a topic you would like to suggest a full video on here on the Bruce Williams channel, let me know in the comments section, or feel free to send me a private email if you wish. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you in the next video.